a general election, presidential candidates don't come to places like Mississippi.
That's true.
Yeah. They also don't come to places like California and Massachusetts, right? Because we're not the battleground states. Well, my view is that every vote matters. And the way we can make that happen is that we can have national voting, and that means get rid of the Electoral College.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we gotta talk about what you just saw, which was Pocahontas Warren, aka Elizabeth, talking about abolishing the Electoral College. Now, this has been a thing after Hillary Clinton lost the election in 2016 due to losing the Electoral College. She won a popular vote by like 2 or 3 million, but people are saying, hey, it's not fair because she had the most votes, but she didn't win. The Electoral College really decided the election. It wasn't about the people. Our vote didn't matter. All this, that, and the third. Let me just give some insight on this whole situation to clear up any kind of misconceptions that might be out there in the wild. First of all, the Electoral College protects your vote. It makes it so your vote in your state, wherever you live, actually matters. It don't matter if you live in a very high populated area like LA County or the state of California, or if you live in a small town, middle of nowhere, Colorado, West Virginia, Wyoming, somewhere where it's not a lot of people, your vote actually matters. Now, the popular vote, if that were to be the way the races were actually won, then nobody would go to any of these small states. Trump said that he would prefer the popular vote because it'd be easier. All you got to do in that situation is just go to the population centers, go to New York, go to Illinois, go to California, go to Florida, go to Texas, and run your campaigns there. You can just fly over all the flyover states. Why go to West Virginia? Why go to Mississippi where Miss Pocahontas was at? Why go to Iowa or somewhere like that? What's the point? There's not enough people there. West Virginia has a population of about 1.8, maybe not even 2 million people. LA County by itself has over 10 million people in it. Okay, so you're talking about what, like 5 times the population of West Virginia or more? There's a lot of other states that have less population than LA County. I know just right now talking, probably Iowa, definitely Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota. A lot of places do not have a high population, but they have their own specific needs. A place like Utah, where it's more religious, a lot of Mormons, they may vote for a certain person based upon their lifestyle that is totally different than any other high population center. So the Electoral College gives them power. You got to come to Utah. You got to be able to win their vote. You got to be able to have things that would appeal to them. So when Hillary Clinton goes on her campaign tour and says, yeah, we're going to kill coal, that might fly in a place like California or Florida or New York, but not in coal country where you have small population, but a lot of the population depends on coal for their economic lifeblood. Ohio, West Virginia, parts of Western Pennsylvania, parts of Eastern Kentucky, etc., even parts of like far Western Virginia, coal is very important. So when you say, well, I don't want to have coal be the way of the future, I want to shut down coal mines right now, you're not going to be able to get those votes, and that's going to hurt you in the presidential election. It would not hurt you if the election were popular vote only. So the Electoral College most certainly should not be abolished. And it'd be hilarious if they have a person in there, a Democrat that's doing very well on a state-to-state level, but they can't get the popular vote and they lose. That happened with George W. Bush. It might have been 2004 when he won the election. I forget who he was going against. It may have been Al Gore or somebody like that, but either way it goes, he did win the popular vote and the Electoral College. But what if he won the popular vote and lost the Electoral College? You see what I'm saying? So you just got to think about these things before you just come out there and do it. But you know what? I think there was some kind of thought process here. Maybe Pocahontas and Hillary and everybody else on the Democrat side have figured out, you know what? We can't win the Electoral College anymore. Our message does not really correlate. It doesn't communicate to the majority of the country. When you're talking about region to region, it may connect with high population centers like California, Florida, New York, etc. But to everyday moms and dads in the so-called flyover states, it's not connecting. So we got to just get past that to just focus on the big city centers and have that be the way we win the race. If it were just Electoral College, it'll basically only be like 5 states that exist. Nobody would go to all these different states and try to win there. So if you live in a small town or, you know, a less populated area, the president would never come to your place. There would be no rallies. I was at a Trump rally here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where I live. Why would he come here if it were not for the fact that you have to appeal to everybody, not just certain people? Now, some people will do the right thing and just go everywhere because you want to connect to all Americans. You want to get all Americans' votes. But the reality is that if it were not for the Electoral College, every American's vote would not matter as much as some people's. And before I close, I want to say this. Democrats also want so-called sanctuary cities. So when you have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of illegals streaming into the country through the open border, which they also want, they're going to put them in a high population center where they're more likely to vote Democrat. They're going to put them in Florida. They're going to put them in parts of Texas to try and turn that blue, which would be kind of crazy. They're going to put them in California. They're going to put them in Minnesota. They'll put them in New York. And they'll just say, okay, you're here now illegally. We'll let you vote in the federal national election, which they want this whole thing to be just all happening at once. No state to state. More federalism, less state sovereignty, but that's a different story. And for now, I digress. We want you to vote in this national election with your temporary resident card for the president and also for local elections. Therefore, they'll be able to solidify themselves in the local seats and the national seats. They want to cheat the system rather than having the system that we have in place. The system is really ingenious, put there by the founding fathers to make sure that cheating, abusive power, and other things as it relates to voting would be reduced, if not outright eliminated. So that is pretty much all I got. Again, Electoral College, I'm definitely a fan of it. It makes sure that everyone's vote counts because the president has to appeal to all the different states in the union. They can't just appeal to the big city centers. Hillary Clinton appealed to the big city centers where a lot of liberals at, a lot of illegals and stuff like that, but she did not appeal to the majority of the states. Trump had a wide sweeping message that appealed to everybody from all different walks of life. And that's the way it should be. If you want to talk about diversity and inclusion, what better way to have inclusion than the Electoral College, which makes all people that are running for the president go to every single state and lobby for their vote, because when you're talking about the actual vote that comes from the state that applies to the Electoral College, that is what wins you the race. The popular vote obviously helps because you got to have a lot of votes in each state to win each state, but the state to state issues are important and they can't be overlooked in the Electoral College system. But what do you think? Should we abolish the Electoral College? If you think that way, please explain to me why in the comments below. Do you think we should keep it the way it is right now? Do you think that the system that the founding fathers put into place is a good one? Has it served us well in our country? I believe that it has. We got a great president in there right now because he was able to appeal to everybody, not just big population centers that can overpower and dominate the smaller states, so their voice would not be heard. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.